Yeah.
So thank you, Naomi Klein, for
let's sort of do like a pretty harsh segue into this other segment that's about critical race theory and social justice stuff, but it's more about men and women and child rearing and stuff. I normally like to make sure we keep everything in a standard through line, but this one's too interesting to pass up because Matthew Iglesias. So Matthew Iglesias is the co-founder of Vox.com, and he tweeted this today. Here's a poll that could burn the discourse down. And I don't know why he posted it, but it's family work preference based on gender and marital parental status. And the funny thing is, I don't think there's anything necessarily definitive from it, but we do see that married mothers overwhelmingly believe, around 55%, that one parent should work full-time and one parent should provide childcare in the home. And married fathers basically think the same thing. But you know what's really funny about this? Married mothers, only about 15%, think both parents should work full-time and use childcare. Married fathers, you actually have around 25% who think both parents should be working full-time and using paid childcare. I think it's funny that more guys think that. And I think it's because men probably underestimate the amount of work that goes into raising kids. So they're like, my wife can work. It's no big deal. We'll get a child, a sitter. And the wife is like, no, you underestimate. But interestingly, there's a poll from 2019 that Matthew also posted. 56% of women prefer working to homemaking. I think there's interesting ramifications from this, notably that the number is actually 56 for women and who prefer to work outside the home, but 75% for men. And then 39% of women prefer being a homemaker and only 23% of men. My question, and what I want to get into, like just kind of the gender dynamics, especially with you here, Mike, about what you think this leads to, why it's happening. And yeah, we were talking about testosterone before. And like men's testosterone levels going down, so I figured it'd be fun to talk about this.
Yeah, those things. I'm surprised the numbers aren't inverse, where more people want to be stay-at-home moms. One thing I've got with Shauna is Shauna would be a little bit insecure to say that she was a stay-at-home mom because she would get like shamed by other women for being a stay-at-home mom. But why would you shame someone if you were happy, right? That's where I think the numbers are probably even more skewed towards they actually don't want to work because think about it. If you're happy and somebody says, oh, yeah, I'm doing this thing like me. Oh, yeah, I like to lift weights. And you tell me, oh, I like to bike. You tell me you like to run. You like to run? You like to bike? And I'm like, I'm glad that everybody's really happy. So she would feel like put on the spot
right?
Because there's all this like shame directed by women who are like only a stay-at-home mom. I couldn't do it. I believe in mindset, your limits, blah, blah, blah. I could not be all the time with the kids the way my wife
This is like the one subject that when we talk about triggers the most anger from leftists. And I can probably make some assumptions as to why they get so mad about it. Because maybe it's what you kind of pointed out, that there's a lot of women who would rather be homemakers. I mean, the Gallup poll says that. Maybe there are more, but they're worried about being shunned or shamed.
Well, parenting does too. So Shauna, it's so interesting because I see things from her perspective too. Is anything about parenting makes people mad. So, for example, I did a whole thread on how we did natural childbirth, and I prefaced it with, "Hey, man, if you went to the hospital, I just hope your kids are healthy. All love, blessings, love and light." How dare you? You're giving misinformation about home births, and they're yelling. So anytime you do something about parenting, you're already in the danger zone because people take it personally. Yeah. Oh, so you read to your kids 3 books a day. I only read 1 book a day to my kid. You're therefore saying that I'm a bad parent. Like nobody's telling you that, bro. We're just like hanging out. So you're already in the danger zone. And then when you talk about anything with the idea that there's like a traditional gender roles might actually have a biological root to it, now you've doubled it, right? Whatever, because if all you talked about was peaceful parenting, you would have people mad at you. Well, I was spanked as a kid and I turned out, good. So you're already there.
And I'm not even saying biological component. I'm just like, oh, look at this poll that says women prefer it more than men. And then, man, people just light up.
Well, that's what I mean, but they're going to read that into it, though.
Yeah. Oh,
they're going to go,
of course.
Oh, so, because they all rate, they're raised on like Jon Stewart and John. Oh, so what you're saying is that men belong in the working and women belong in the house. Like, bro, I never said that, man. I'm just talking about an actual survey. So I can just say that I could not be a mom, and I don't have to pander to women because mine says men. All blessings to them.
There's an article I read that really triggered the left, and it like seriously did. They started writing articles about it and yelling at me, and I got a bunch of people hitting me up because it was about working women in their 30s who couldn't find men. And I'm like, maybe there is something with this Gallup poll and this other discourse thing that Matthew Iglesias tweeted, where if you got a guy who's in his 30s, who's successful and attractive, he's not going to want to find a woman who, wants to work. He wants to find someone who can help him have a family.
Yeah. There's a lot of things you can misinterpret with opinions, but one thing you can't misinterpret are the financial ramifications that cause people to have a home where both of the parents work. It used to be that someone would have one job and they could pay for their family, they could pay for their mortgage, they could pay for the food on the table. Now that situation is dramatically going down, especially with energy prices going up, housing prices going up, food prices going up. This is affecting us in such dramatic ways, and we have to understand behind the larger movement, especially in the early onset of the 1900s, there was a lot of industrialists that saw that if we have more taxpayers, if we have more workers, if we have more factory people, if we have more employees